Welcome Capricorn to your in-depth monthly forecast for April 2025. It's a pleasure to work with you. If you'd like to work with me directly, please check out my testimonials below for my one-to-one consultations. You can also have a video reading with me too, please see below, or please take advantage of my unique special offer. My combination reports of your life roadmap and also your 12-month transits give you an opportunity to understand the patterns that are played out in your life so far, but also get a much more intimate understanding of them, but how you can work with these in terms of the upcoming months, the next year, in order to time your moves really succinctly, when to hold off and when to go for it. And there is 30% off. Please see the link below for more. The month begins with the energy coming from the Sun in Aries, but also the solar eclipse at the end of last month, and Chiron in the fourth house of your chart is all about how you feel about things, but it can be about where you live, who you live with and how, and also the environment that you want to find yourself in through the first half of this month. So that feeling energy. But you also have a combination of Venus and Mercury in your third house, and they're both retrograde to begin with. What's the implications of that? Well, I feel that Mercury is how we think, can be how we express ourselves. Venus is the tonal side of expression, and of course it's about relating, but both can be about business and money. And because they're in your third house at the start of this month, the third house can be anything to do with the digital world, anything to do with websites, selling on or buying online, but it can also be in a more traditional way, your immediate everyday relationships and environment. So can be connections to neighbours, your locality, siblings, but it also can be your beliefs and ideas. Now, the fact that they're retrograde doesn't mean to say that you will inevitably have some bugs or glitches to deal with. It's possible. What's perhaps more relevant, I feel, is the role of your ruler Saturn, which can be quite a cold fish. And in the sign of Pisces, we have a fishy amount of activity, not least with the North Node. So, seriously, on the 7th and the 25th, Saturn applies an exact conjunction to Venus. If there is a weakness around someone that you're connected to in your everyday world, or someone sees something or has a different worldview or an ideology from you, it could cause quite a cool encounter to occur. But also you may find yourself checking how you think about things, revisiting some of your ideas. But the third house can be about short journeys. So this is not a month to be too quick to jump into your vehicle and just zip around to somewhere. Every single journey, do consider buckling up and really focusing, even if it's just local. Think very carefully before you head out. If you're going on a bike, just be conscious of the conditions, whether it's a motorcycle or a push bike. Think about the helmet too. I know in some localities it's a legal requirement, but in others it might not be. But Saturn can bring some kind of impact or limitation to your ability to move around or to express yourself freely. So because of the energy in your fourth house of emotion and the way that ideas or feelings are expressed, you might find that things are a little cool at times this month. Now, once Mercury goes direct on the 7th and Venus on the 13th, that will help. Also, because of the retrograde, you may be talking through something that got stuck before when they were both in Pisces, because if you recall, they both moved into Aries. They're going to move back to Aries this month as well. So you may be going over old ground in order to create some clarity. However, in the first half of this month, Mars, the planet of passion, does continue in your sector of relating. And in some ways, I feel Mars in the 7th house has been good because it's helped you to set a boundary. But Mars in the 7th house can seem to other people rather over assertive at times, which brings us to the full moon of the 13th, because Mars is going to impact the position of the sun and also the moon. Your feelings are going to be much closer to the surface on that event for the following 2 weeks. That Venus goes direct on the same day, and Mercury on the 16th is part of an improving flow. But because of Mars, if there's something that you're wanting to reset, and it could be your work-life balance, the conversations you need to have, you do need to choose your words very carefully, because even if you're being utterly sincere, saying what you mean, meaning what you say, very Capricorn, but also very Saturn conjunct Venus, it might not be how the other person hears it. They could hear you as being very harsh or unyielding and unbending. So when we get to that moon, that full moon, and with the moon in your 10th house, however you're feeling, it will be very difficult to disguise it. And with Mars intersecting the position of the sun and also the moon in a T-square, that can bring out a part of you, a need to push back if you feel that people aren't being as caring and supportive of you as they should be. Now, you may be absolutely right, but it reminds me of that old maxim of not what we say, of how we say it. And if there has been some unsettled stuff in your family history, some breakdowns in communication, the fact the sun links to Chiron from the 9th to the 16th does give you an opportunity to revisit this. You might not decide to pick up the phone and make contact, but perhaps you can make more sense of what happened. That's a definite possibility. I should also say to you that as much as Saturn on Venus can be challenging, it can create a real atmosphere of reality, and it does forge a brilliant link to Uranus all through this month. So if you're wanting to convey an idea that is inspiring, but you're breaking it down into digestible pieces of information, even if it's a different kind of idea, you could see a project or plan take a big step forwards. However, by the 19th, you get some celestial support in terms of elements, because the sun moves into your fellow earth sign of Taurus, which is the 5th house. The soul searching that can go on with the 4th house makes way for a much warmer, vibrant, more outgoing and energized vibe, which will take you through to the end of the month. What's not to like? Well, it's just the day before, on the 18th, Mars switches out of your 7th house of relating and boundaries and open enemies, to be honest, and moves into the 8th house of innate desire. But the 8th, 5th house square to the sun, but also from the 8th to the 2nd house opposition to Pluto, suggests that you could find, even for your sign that has a reputation for being very thoughtful before you make any big decisions, you may find yourself much more impulsive about spending money, and particularly on the new moon of the 25th, because a 5th house new moon can be joyful, it can be about pleasure, fun, sociability, creativity, self-expression, but it can also be about speculation. And because Mars can be about desire, especially in the 8th house, it brings out its more scorpionic, instant gratification energy, and Pluto in the 2nd house is pushing you to build up a new foundation for your everyday finances. Your desire to improve your financial lot could see you do something in a very bold and somewhat uncharacteristic way by having some kind of punt or being drawn to someone in a romantic context, where it may be a person who makes your pulse race, but would you actually be able to have close dialogue? Those are the questions you need to stay mindful of. So the inner part of your communications are very, very important this month, but the emotional dimension is definitely enriched by the solar eclipse, Neptune having moved into that area as well. So sensitivity is going to be important, but if you're talking about something, just be aware that someone may perceive how you explain things or how you come across as very unbending and very fixed, even though the event occurs in the mutable Pisces, and that could create a stumbling block, particularly with Mars through to the middle of the month in your sector of relating. But later in the month, you have a chance to be more gregarious, but it's how you go about it that's going to be really important. If you'd like to understand the exact timings of all these aspects this month, please see underneath this video and you can download a factoid. Have a great April, Capricorn. If you've yet to join me at my new website, please do so at www.patrickarundell.com. Got lots of new goodies and features to share with you.